Well, everybody, this is Jeffrey Jackson. We're
Hello.
doing our second drop with him. Kind of feels like our first drop, since the first drop was just what Joe and I could come up with. We appreciate all the orders. That was really fun to do. It's cool that this is working. But yeah, Jeffrey was a no-brainer. I moved to Indianapolis in 2013, and he was my first real coworker and friend. And yeah, I mean, why don't you talk about yourself for a little bit? I don't know. This is weird to me because this is about you. It's not about me.
Sure.
But we picked you for a reason.
Appreciate it. Yeah. So, how far back am I going? Born in 1989.
Old man.
Yeah. No, okay. So I graduated from Anderson University with a graphic design degree. Through that, I got into screen printing. So I took some screen printing classes. You would know all this. I'm just telling the camera.
Yeah, I've been
But
there
I'm not
before.
supposed to look at the camera. Yeah, so I took some screen printing classes at AU. That's what got me into it. And then my first job after graduating was at a screen print shop. I worked there for about a year and a half, and then you joined. So that's
Dude.
where we got in. So yeah, I screen printed, I don't know, like full time for like 6 years or so. Half of it with you-ish,
Yeah.
maybe more. And then, now I work at Anderson University doing their graphic design.
So that's kind of like
Yeah.
cliche. That's like full circle, and this is full circle.
This is full circle.
You started at Anderson. You're back at Anderson. I started printing with you in Indianapolis, and now I'm printing for you in Indianapolis. That's so funny.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Dude,
Cool to think of it that way.
the
Yeah.
coolest part about moving here and working with you right off the bat, I'll never forget the first day walking into that shop, because I came from a Plastisol shop in Iowa where it was all just sports apparel, not just sports apparel, but typical cheap apparel.
Sure.
Where they
Someone's
print-
got to do it.
Yeah, and I did it for a long time. But it was just, thick
Yeah.
ink on top of the shirts. So I waltz in downtown. First day, you're in there mixing inks. I'm thinking, what did I get into?
Who mixes
What
ink?
is he doing? It looks like ketchup. What are we printing with here? Because
Yeah.
stuff I'm used to is like plastic or like margarine. And it just lays
Sure.
on top of the shirts, literally just melted down plastic, basically.
Yeah.
And now, looking back, I mean, I've been doing this for 12, 13 years, and it's like, that's all I know now is water-based. So
Yeah,
why
man.
don't you explain to these guys, since you taught
Ooh.
me what it was, why don't you explain to these guys what water-based inks are and why you chose the style you did for this drop, because it's kind of a unique one.
Sure. Well, you kind of explained Plastisol. It's a plasticky based ink that kind of just lays on top of the shirt. Water-based is a water-based ink. It's an accurately named ink type, water-based ink. So when you print with it, it kind of like goes into the fibers of the shirt. It doesn't just lay on top of it, it like meshes with it. And depending on the type of water-based ink, you can actually like dye the fibers. So then once you wash it, like you can't even feel it anymore. It's like, it is part of the shirt. It's not just laying on top. It is part of the shirt. So I really like that type of ink. I know you do too.
Yeah.
And I wanted to lean into that. One of the cool properties of water-based ink is that you can do like a wet on wet print. So like you don't have to cure the ink before you can print the next color on top of it. You can mix them. You can print wet on wet.
Right.
And then where they overlap, it'll naturally look like it overlaps. So I wanted to lean into that. I find that really interesting. So yeah, all my designs utilize a wet on wet technique. And then how they overlap, we kind of just left it up to the fates. Well, the fates being you guys.
Well, that's the cool part about it. Like
Yeah.
when your design started rolling in, the first thing I thought was, man, why did he not put textures on these? Because that's one of the things.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I just became accustomed to with switching from Plastisol to water-based is like, since you get those thin prints, you can do a lot more details. So a lot of people that print with water-based, there's a lot of halftones or like crazy textures and really faded looks because you can type of a thing. With Plastisol being so thick, not that it's impossible to get those details, it's just, it takes a lot more talent and time.
It's a bit more obvious when you do it, yeah.
And it's more obvious. Yeah, those dots are a lot more apparent.
Yeah.
So like, we're so used to people working with water-based that like know what they're doing, have like lots of textures and things like that, like overlaying the artwork. And so when you sent yours over and there was no textures or halftones, I thought, what the heck is he doing? And I think I even said something like, hey, are you sure
Yeah.
you don't want textures on this? And you said something like, well, I think it's just going to work itself out. Like, just trust me on it.
Yeah.
And I do. I trust you. Like,
yeah.
I've ridden your PT Cruiser to work every day for a long
Shout
time.
out, dude. Pretty
And
tight cruiser.
we never died. So, but no, I was genuinely worried because I'm like, man, this is just going to look like clip
Yeah.
art. But then, man, today we got some shirts out of the box, we photographed them, and I was wrong. Like,
Yeah.
I got to watch Joseph. He's not here. He's lazy on Wednesdays.
R.I.P.
But
He's not dead. I
No,
hope he's resting well.
I doubt he is. He's watching a baby.
Yeah.
But he mixes all of our inks. Like, he took over. You mixed all the ink at our old place.
Yeah.
You left. Joe
Sure.
comes in. He just mixes all the ink. Kind of nice. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of times I'll set up a job. Joe throws all the ink on the press and gets it going.
Yeah.
And then I tear it down. He's got inks ready for the next one. He's just the ink master.
Sure.
He does a lot more than that, but it's kind of nice that he just
Yeah.
is the ink guru.
That's kind of how we were. when we were
Yeah,
fighting it.
same thing. Yeah, I would knock him up and tear him down, and you would just
Knock
have ink ready.
That's a phrase.
Knock him up
Cut that.
4 times. But yeah, no, I would set him up and tear him down, and you would have ink ready in between. And
Yeah,
like
right, yeah.
that, you can be really efficient when that happens. And
Sure.
I had that with you, and
Yeah,
now,
cut that.
Yeah, I've got that with you, and now like Joe does the same thing, and so I fully trusted that he was gonna like make the colors that you came up with your proofs and
Sure, yeah.
make it look good.
You guys nailed it for sure.
And he did, yeah, he did. And then
Yeah.
when we saw it like come down the dryer and stuff, I'm like, man, he knew what he was talking about. It didn't
Yeah.
need the texture because it's so cool. Like when it overlaps, it like does that itself. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah.
You said something about like a wood block technique. I didn't go to school for art. I just went to Hard Knocks School of Screen Printing. So like I don't know all these
And it's
crazy
great,
techniques. I just know if something looks good, if it matches what the client wants or not.
Yeah, right.
But you had said something about like you watched some YouTube videos of some like German wood block art
Well,
thing.
yeah. I drew a lot of inspiration from woodblock
That's
printing.
cool.
Yeah. Do you know anything about woodblock printing? You should look into it if not. It's
I
pretty cool.
mean, is it kind of like stamps?
Kinda.
Okay.
You don't have to include this, but in a real basic sense, it's just a piece of wood, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And then someone with like gouges, like wood carving tools,
Yes.
carves away pieces of that wood, like
Okay.
surfacey. It doesn't even have to be very deep.
Yeah.
So you're kind of carving anywhere that you do not want a print.
Yes.
So you're carving away the negative.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're left with anything that you want on your final print is still flat. Like the original surface, anywhere that you don't want ink is carved away.
Yes.
So then you roll ink on it, you slap paper on, you peel it off, and you're left with a wood block print, essentially.
Sick.
Yeah.
That's really.
So that's
cool.
what I drew inspiration from. So like the fox is pretty like gougy looking, like it kind of looks like it's been carved
Sure.
by hand.
Yeah.
Obviously, I
that.
did it on a computer.
Yeah.
I cheated. But yeah, along the same lines, Woodblock prints, they'll do a lot of like overlapping prints of colors, because if you want to do a multicolor woodblock print, God bless you, like that's a lot of work because you have to every color is a carved piece of wood.
Yeah.
So sometimes they'll intentionally like carve away more or less than they intend to, and then they'll just overlap them and just let the inks do whatever they do.
That's
Yeah.
so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah, that's where it kind of came from.
Learn something new every day.
There you go. We'll see if it makes it into the final.
Man. I
Yeah.
kind of think, like, I don't know, the full circle of this whole thing is like what makes this so fun for me, because like moving here, working with you, like made what I do fulfilling and like fun. Because I tell people all the time, like, there's days where I go to work and come home and I'm like, man, that was rough. But there's hardly ever days where I wake up, and this carried on with Joseph, bless his heart. But there's like hardly ever any days where I wake up and I'm like, man, I have to go to work. Like, because it's fun.
Yeah.
Like you and I became best buds, just like being battle buddies, and we were always claiming we were undefeated. Like we never had a shirt beat us. Like
That's right.
everyone that we set up and tore down.
Sometimes
like
it took multiple battles.
yeah. Sometimes
We
it-
won the war.
yeah. We never lost the war. Like everything worked out. I
Yeah.
mean, we had mistakes that we didn't know about maybe
Yeah,
till it was too late. But
I don't want to know about them now.
hey, it printed fine. Like and
We got
that
them
was
there.
fun. Like I took a lot of
Yeah,
pride
man.
in that, and
Yeah, same.
but man, we had a lot of fun.
Same,
Like
yeah.
I look back at those years where it was like you and me, and it feels like so we were downtown Indianapolis. Like it was
Colorful.
yes, like we saw some colorful stuff. Like man, I don't even know. Like it was. I describe it to people because I'm from rural Iowa. Like I grew up small town, not even in town. Like I grew up
Yeah.
on a farm, hearing cattle and chickens every morning, and
Yeah.
and I moved from that to Indianapolis, which bless Indianapolis' heart, it is a small town, big city. Like I think I've actually printed that on a shirt before, but like it really is. Like it doesn't.
Yeah.
I've never felt overwhelmed by the big cityness of it because it always feels so small. But I
It's
tell you
pretty
what,
spread out, yeah.
the first couple months, maybe first couple years, driving to East New York Street and like working down there, I was stressed a few times.
Yeah.
Like not because like you're seeing people that you're not used to seeing. They're doing things you're not used to seeing. Like we would see some stuff. I'll never forget. We were cleaning one time, and we went to take like a rack of screens. It wouldn't fit through a certain door, so we had to go out the main door and take it around the street. And we cracked the door open, and there was just a dude, like on the other side of the street. Maybe he was taking some medicine or something. I don't really know.
Medicine.
But he was looking at something on the
Yeah.
he was looking at something on the ground, and he just had his pants were like down,
Oh,
and he
yeah.
had no britches on. Like
Oh, yeah.
he was mooning us, and he didn't even know it. And
Yeah.
like that was like my introduction. It was like, hey, welcome to Indianapolis.
Yeah.
This is what the city life is. I
Yeah.
just remember like telling my folks, like we had like a running list of like all these things we would see.
We got to find that list.
Oh man,
That's not an exaggeration. We had a list,
We
a
had-
physical written list.
yeah, and it went
It
on.
was, yeah. I remember describing it as like, how did I just, it was on Cinema Channel. Like predictably unpredictable.
Oh yeah,
Like you could count on seeing something that you have never seen before.
at least once a week.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
usually you can't count on that sort of stuff, but you could count on it.
Oh yeah, it's
Like,
like,
you open the door, and I remember one time we saw it was like 4 kids pushing 4 tires down the road,
Yes.
and we were like,
not
and they
like
were
they're
like
kids.
kids,
Yeah,
like 8
yeah,
years old.
yeah.
We're like, where did you get those tires?
What are you gonna do with them?
Where
What
are you going?
And we would just never intervene. We would just shut the door and
Yeah.
and we would write that down. We'd be like, saw this thing. We have a journal somewhere.
Yeah, 4
Have
kids
to-
pushing 4
I
tires.
have to look that up. Oh man! And then I remember because we would
Mm-hmm.
carpool, and like sometimes you'd see stuff when we were in the PT Cruiser.
Oh yeah.
I will never forget hopping in our car at the end of the day one time, and we were going up Emerson, and we stopped at a 4-way stop, and we had to stop early, and I think the light was even green, but everybody was stopped, and we rolled down the windows. We're kind of trying to figure out what's happening. We just hear shouting, and remember some dude just picked up his bicycle
Yeah.
and just full on like Hulk smashed it at this guy in the middle of the street.
I hope you were saying this story.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
and I don't remember what happened, but like it all just dispersed,
Yeah.
and then everybody just kept going. Like
Yeah.
like
Just
we
some-
saw some
a
stuff.
bicycle fight.
Yeah, bike fight, and it wasn't like not like a biker fight.
No.
Guy picked up a bicycle and smacked somebody with it. That was we've seen some
Yeah, man.
stuff, and it wasn't always outside. Like we'd have to crack the garage door in the summer, and like I don't remember how it happened, but a lot of times I was in the back like working on screens or something, and I vaguely remember you just being like, "Derek, there's a dog out here." I'm like, what are you talking about? And a dog had just like moseyed in, like we
Yeah.
were gonna feed him or something. And it was like a pit
Shop
bull.
dog,
Yeah, and so we called him Shop Dog, and we saw him around a few times, but he never came back in, I don't think. But then we printed for firefighters for a long time, and I remember going out to like hand them their shirts in the parking lot that one time, and the guy goes, "What the heck is that?" And there was an abandoned house next to us for a long time, and there was a dog like on the roof of that house somehow. Like, what? Yeah, it checks out. Like,
Yeah.
just
We'll add it to the list later.
yeah. But yeah, I mean that's what's that? 4 things out of 4 million things.
Yeah,
we
right,
saw.
yeah.
It was, dude, it was so much
It's what-
fun.
It's what made us good screen printers.
Yeah, all the trials and
All
tribulations.
that flexibility.
Yeah.
and-
Made us focus. We didn't want to go outside too much. We had
Yeah,
to
we're-
let's stay inside and
Can't
print,
look out here, yeah.
get good at our craft. But no, it was so much fun
Yeah.
going through all that goofy stuff with you, and
Heck yeah.
it never stopped after you left, and it was just Joe and I for a few years. It was still silly stuff,
Yeah.
but
I miss it.
but yeah, now we're up
Heck yeah.
here and not as much silly stuff going on, but
Well,
yeah, it's-
now you're doing cool stuff.
hey, inland stuff like this
Inland
is fun.
stuff, yeah.
This is
Yeah, man.
this is really fun. Like this is what this is about. Like when I Joe and I started this, like one of the things we said was like, we have to do one with Jeffrey, like that. And we were both just like, why not the very first one? Technically. And
I'm your
dude,
first.
yeah, you're our first. You were my first when I moved here, and you're our first again. But no, it means the world that you were willing to do it. And,
I appreciate
I mean,
it.
we've worked on stuff before. Like, you know, what did we do? You wanted to print like after hours that one time. You made that hot dog shirt for yourself for like a science experiment where you printed the shape of the hot dog, and then we put mustard on a screen and printed mustard on there, and that was fun.
Just casual.
You helped me with that. My wife and I went to the Big Ten championship game when Iowa played Michigan State, RIP, and we made that Taylor Swift sign.
Yeah, heck
that was so fun. That was so fun. That was the first time we ever like
You were
really
famous, dude.
Yeah, I was on ESPN, well, on their Instagram, and then like a few months later, they voted on like the best sign of the year, and we made top 10, baby.
Top 10.
That was so
we were
awesome.
like 8.
It was probably because we knew some people, and that sign was probably like the biggest sign that had ever been on that program.
Heck yeah.
Because we took like 4 cardboard boxes and like put them all together. But
yeah, what a great sign.
Oh, it was so good.
If this makes the final edit, Kyle put in a picture.
Yeah, we'll put on a picture. But oh man, that was so good. That was so good.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah, it's fun to be
I love it.
working together like we like to, but in a way that people can join along. Because like what really makes a difference to me and Joe is like we wanted to feature you guys, like whoever we're working with, whether it's an artist or a company or someone doing murals.
Yeah.
Like we want to be able to feature you guys like on our site and let people know like, hey, what these guys are doing is awesome. And we'll have like a bio on there. They can go read it right now if they want to click on it. Just whatever. If they just listen to this whole thing, they're going to know it all by then.
Yeah.
But what we really wanted to do though is give people an opportunity to be like, man, that guy's working on some cool stuff. And if they want to throw something your way, your Venmo's on there. Not necessary. I think it is. Like, you know,
I didn't say it.
Full disclosure, you were cutting you a check to do this, so that's kind of fun.
Yeah, sure.
And that honestly means the most to me because like,
heck yeah.
It's worth your time to do this, and it makes it fun for us too. So like, if anybody else wants to pitch in, that's cool. That's why we wanted to do that because like that's kind of the most that Joe and I could do, and we appreciate you, we love you, and like we want to do this again. I hope this isn't the only drop we do with you.
Please,
and
happy to come back. And I'll add one of the things I really value. Obviously, I like the idea of inland, like you guys featuring artists. Love the idea. But I really value that it feels like a collaboration in a lot of sense. Like it's not just like, hey, I came up with a design, and that's it. Like throughout the whole thing, I'd come up with a concept. I'd show it to you. You'd say, oh, that's cool. What if you tried this? And I'm like, no. What are you thinking? You know, or whatever.
Well, the hat.
And then like it felt like a collaboration, even with the design. As much as I wanted it, like you were there, and then even with the printing, like I came up with I have the digital mocks, but I was like, hey, I'm leaning on you to like nail the overlap because I know that overlap is tricky. It kind of has a mind of its own. You can control it a bit, but I was like, whatever you think works, and you guys nail it. So like I'm into that. Like I really like collaboration, just like in my artistic life. So I appreciate it that you guys were up for that too.
Yeah, I mean,
this drop,
that's the whole thing. Like we could stand at that press right there all day and just print like anything that comes through, and we're willing.
Sure.
We're willing.
Sure.
Like don't like if Dairy Queen or Culver's or somebody wants us to print their shirts, we'll do it.
Shout out.
Yeah, we'll
future
do it.
Sponsors.
Pepsi. That's fine. But like, there's something about this that's just special. Like we want to work with our friends, not just our friends, but like people who are making cool stuff, or people who are part of something cool, and just working like that, like the collaboration. That's so fun for Joe and I. Like there's people we have lined up that I know for a fact when they send us something, it's just going to be like that's what it is. And and then that's the fun part for us because like you send us some ideas, or like, hey, that might look cool on this or that, and like everyone's going to be different, and that's going to be such a fun journey for us, just to kind of like everybody's new. Like we're working with somebody right now that does murals for a living, and like doesn't really like sit down and draw and things like that. And so like
Sure.
that's been really fun. Like,
Oh yeah,
'cause,
like you might have to digitize it.
yeah,
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 okay,
and like
yeah.
he's like,
That's cool.
here's some ideas. I want you guys to play with it. And like
Yeah,
that's
okay, yeah.
so like the collaboration aspect of it
Yeah.
is gonna look different every time, and that's
Yeah.
so cool. Like
Great.
we don't
Yeah.
want people to feel like I have to be a graphic designer or a digital artist to be able to collaborate with inline stuff.
Sure,
If you
yeah.
got an idea, like
Yeah.
we're capable. Like
Yeah.
I can't really doodle, but
Well, you
between
can do
Dennis,
it.
Joseph, and I, like we're capable. Like
Yeah,
if we
sure.
can make some ideas happen, and
Heck yeah.
yeah, that's what this is all about, and we're proud of you. It's cool that you're working up at Anderson. That's such a cool job.
Thank you, man.
If you want to talk about the
Appreciate it.
Wandering Press, that is really cool.
Yeah,
I don't want to like, we don't care. Just full disclosure. Like I don't care that you have your own screen printing thing.
Yeah,
we're not. It's not.
Look,
We're not in any competition.
there's
and
enough
honestly,
room for all of us.
yeah. There's a lot of people
We're
out there
also
printing
doing
shirts.
different things. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, in 2017, so when I got out of like full-time screen printing and moved to work at AU, I still had the itch to screen print. I'm
Yeah.
sure if you ever move away, you'll be there too. So I started a company called The Wandering Press. The name is I still go back and forth on if I like the name.
It's cool.
It's accurate.
Yeah.
It's accurate.
You're the only one. Everybody else
It's a
thinks
little
it's cool.
whimsical maybe for me. Whatever. Cut that. I'm just kidding. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so I started The Wandering Press. It focuses on live event screen printing. So like if you're having an event, I can come to your event and print on location.
Right.
So it's a small mobile press, it's a small mobile dryer. We do the exchange for you. It's pretty cool. I didn't invent the idea.
Yeah.
I truthfully don't know anyone in town doing it. Not that there couldn't be. But,
We did it once a year for a while.
well,
there.
yeah, we did a little bit back in the day, but anyway, I really grew to like that
Yeah.
model. So now I do that on the side. It scratches my itch, so I can still print. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's
so
not
cool.
my like full-time job, so I don't get burned out on it either.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I just,
Yeah.
I don't know. I wanted people to know that like if
Yeah,
they have events or anything like that, like
appreciate it.
hit him up. Like, cause you fly
Appreciate it.
out too. It's not just here in Indianapolis.
Yeah, I've done a couple long distance ones where I have to ship the press and stuff. It's
Insane.
pretty wild, yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Nothing breaks.
That's a different story. Look, we'll just say I'm a UPS guy,
Okay.
not a FedEx guy.
Oh, baby. Wow.
I'm throwing blows over here.
I believe you. But man, this has been fun. Like, I don't know. I don't know how long we want this video to end up being, but we'll do it again. Like,
Sure.
undoubtedly. Like we
Heck
have,
yeah.
we have a lot of drops lined up, but
Yeah.
not enough to where you can't come back. So
I would
we're
be
looking,
honored.
we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, thank you for having me, man. It's been great.
Another thing I was thinking, we invented a game when we were playing down there.
That's right.
It's called Bounce Ball.
One of the hardest games to master.
I brought this just in case.
Yeah.
I don't remember the rules though. I
Oh.
just remember we bounced balls into boxes when we were bored.
Yeah. I think that's about it. The only rule was it's basically the game of horse,
Yes,
but you have to bounce it off of something first.
that's what it was. Did we cut? I remember maybe it was like
So-
1, 2 into the box, and you had to call how many
Yeah, but you have
bounces.
to call it. So you're like, I'm bouncing off the wall into the trash can.
Cool, man. I'm gonna
And then
be-
you'd have to try to do it. Or you're like, I'm bouncing it off. You hold still, I'm gonna bounce it off your forehead into this.
Sweet. I'm gonna be rusty, but
Yeah.
what do we have? There's a trash can back there.
Yeah, man.
Can you get there in 2?
Yeah. Where's the trash can? Mine.
I mean, they're all over the place.
Oh yeah. It's like behind you. I
Yeah.
mean, I'll do floor.
Yeah, just the floor.
Floor into trash can.
Yeah. Oh, it's go.
Oh, baby! I still got it. Still got it, dude.
Oh, we're good. Holy crap.